Hello students, welcome to this tutorial video for the project called F is for Fletchers. Now you've got the project page out, so what we're going to do is we're going to do a practice run to help you with your project. So what we need to do is we need to open SketchUp 8. So let's do that right now. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is we need to go to Window and we need to go to Model Info. On the left hand side, let's go down to Units. And let's change the format to decimal. And for the units, let's change it to centimeters. Centimeters is really going to help us. Okay, so let's click on centimeters. And there's no OK button, so once you've set everything, it should remember it. Okay, so let's do an initial save. Let's go to File, Save As. In the Save In window, click the down arrow and look for your student number. Remember, look for the student number next to the little icon that looks like a drive. Okay, so let's call this F is for Fletchers. And let's hit save. All right, let's use the magnifying tool and let's zoom in towards the girl's feet. Okay, so let's review again the parameters of our 3D box. So, your project is to design and construct a 3D box of the letter F, E, T, C, H, or S. The box cannot be more than 15 centimeters tall and 13 centimeters wide. So let's keep those two measurements in our minds right now. Okay, so let's go back to SketchUp. Let's go to Camera. Let's go to Standard Views and let's go Front. Now we've used this view a lot in this unit in math and as well as our SketchUp 8 unit. Okay, let's use the rectangle tool. Let's start on the horizon line here. Let's go a little bit away from the girl and let's click once. Don't hold the mouse button down and let's just pull upwards. So let's type in 13 cm, comma 15 cm. Okay, so the reason why we typed in the 15 cm second is because that's the height. Okay, it always kind of measures the ground width first. So that's our box. So let's go back here. It is 15 centimeters tall and 13 centimeters wide. Okay, so we're accurate there. Now, how thick can our letter be? Well, maximum of 5 centimeters thick. So let's use our orbit tool and push-pull this back 5 centimeters. Okay. So let's zoom in. So it kind of looks like a small cereal box maybe. So this is the maximum that our letter, maximum volume that our letter can be constructed from. Now in this practice version, we're going to create the letter L. So your letter does not have to be this wide. It does not have to be this deep. It does not have to be this tall, but it can't be any more than what we've got here in the box. So if you want to go the simplest way, we can just carve right out from this box here. So there's a couple ways. You can start drawing randomly, or you can use a little bit of thought to help you later with your calculations. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at my box straight on. Okay, I know that this width is 13 centimeters. So how wide do I want to make the vertical post for the L? Well, what we can do is we can start with the pencil tool, start in this corner, and start drawing along this top line. And then I can put in any number that I want. Remember, the maximum is 13 centimeters wide. So let's say if I put in something like 7 centimeters and then hit enter. So what that should do is now if I just rest my mouse from the corner, I don't press the mouse button, and then if I move my mouse along the top edge, I should get to the end point. So there is my end point. That is 8 centimeters across. So if I start drawing my line down here, you have to decide, well, is that too thick for the L or is it too thin? Well, that's a pretty thick L. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back, I'm going to go to Edit, Undo. So then how about I try 6 centimeters? So I'm going to start in the top left-hand corner, click once, don't hold the mouse button, and start moving my mouse down. Now how about I put 5 centimeters and then hit enter. So if I rest my mouse in this corner again and I move my pencil along this line, I should get to an end point right there. Okay, so that actually, if I drew a line down this side, that L looks like it's a pretty good thickness. Now, these are the decisions that you have to make. Okay, all right, so I'm going to draw my vertical line now. Now remember, the maximum height is 15 centimeters. So if this was 5 centimeters across, and then I wanted to make it perfectly even on the bottom, then maybe 15 subtract 5 is 10. So maybe I should go down 10 centimeters. So how about let's try this. I'm going to click once to activate the pencil tool. I'm going to start pulling down without holding the mouse button, and I'm going to type in 10 cm. And there's my vertical line for the L. So you have to decide. Do you like how far down it went, or do you think it could go down even further? Okay, so for example, I could go to Edit, Undo. I can line up my pencil on the end point again, click once, and then this time I could go down 11 centimeters and then see if I've gone down enough. Okay, all right, I'm going to leave it there. And then from here to draw across, it's pretty easy. I don't need to type in a measurement. I'll just go straight across along the edge, along the face actually. Okay, so there's the front view of my L. Now the good thing about working this out this way is when you go to measure your sides, you're not going to get funny measurements. For example, if I click on the tape measure tool and I click once here and I want to measure this height here, I can see that it is exactly 4 centimeters. Okay? Now, if I hadn't planned that out and if I drew things randomly, I would have got a decimal, which is fine. Okay? It's just I'm thinking about your calculations later. You don't want to make life difficult for yourself. You want to have a little bit of a challenge, but you don't want to have every single measurement being this weird decimal answer. Okay? So if I were to measure from here across, I can see that it's a nice clean number of 8 centimeters. Now again, you're not going to be able to get every edge or every line perfectly to be a whole number, or maybe you can, but that's not the point. Okay, so let's continue on with our drawing. Let's continue on creating this L throughout the 3D space. So we've done this a lot, is that what we do is we follow a line along all faces. So let's follow this line across, okay? And then let's go towards the top and draw our pencil. Take our pencil tool and draw across. Okay. Now, what we've got to do is we've got to create the same shape on the back. So, if you forget how long this line is, use the tape measure. Start from here and go down, and right, that was 11 centimeters. So let me go around to the back. I'm going to start right at this vertex. I'm going to click once. Do not hold the mouse button. Start moving your mouse down and type in 11 cm. Okay? And then all you need to do is join these 2 points right here. I'm going to click once here and I'm going to go across. So that should complete my L. Okay? And the best way to test it is, let's get out the eraser tool and start erasing the lines that are not necessary. Okay, so we've got a little bit of a problem, don't we? So I wonder if we can cover up this hole. So let's see if we can draw a rectangle top over this, and let's see if that's going to work. And it does. In fact, I only had to draw one side, and SketchUp 8 just assumed that this side would have to be closed as well. What an intelligent program. Okay, so there's my 3D box of the letter L. Okay, so let's start labeling our measurements like you know how to do. So let's use the 3D text tool, and what I want to do is I want to type in base. I always want to label the base. And let's keep our measurements small. So how about 1 centimeter as the height here, 0 extruded, and let's see, oh, that fits perfectly. Okay, so let's go around to the back and do the same thing. Type in your 3D text tool, click on your 3D text tool, type in base. It should remember your height, 1 centimeter. If not, type it in and click place, and I'll place it here. Okay. All right, so let's start measuring our sides. Now, do you remember what the full height of this side was? Again, if you don't, click on the tape measure, click from this endpoint down to this endpoint. You don't even have to click a second time. It will give you a reading 15 centimeters. Okay, so let's type in using the 3D text tool 15 centimeters, and maybe I want to go 0.8 centimeters for this. 15 centimeters right there, and I will zoom in so that I can use the rotate tool like you've done many times already. I zoomed in too far, sorry about that. And what I'll do is I'll click on the rotate tool, click once, draw a line across, click a second time, and pull that up. Okay, so there's 15 centimeters. Now, how about the base? Okay, so let's use our tape measure tool. Let's click once, go across, click a second time, and get a reading of 13 centimeters. 3D text tool, 13 centimeters. If it remembered your height at 0.8, great. So click place and place it along the bottom there. Okay, what was this height here? Tape measure tool. Click over here and down 4 centimeters. So again, this gets very repetitive, but it's good because what you're doing is you're repeating those skills and you're just going to get really fast at it. So what we want is when we're calculating surface area, you know, and for volume, you need to have all of these measurements. They're very important. Okay, so what about this measurement, this top part of this part of the L? So let's go across. I don't remember any of these measurements. Helps if you have a really good memory. It's 8 centimeters. So text tool, 8 centimeters. Click place. Place it there. And then what about this vertical line here? Do you remember what that was? Again, that's why we set everything to use our tape measure tool. 11 centimeters. So type in 11 centimeters. Place it there. Use my rotate tool. I could rotate it this way, or I can have the letters all facing the same way. It does not matter. Okay. And do we have all of the labels? No, we don't have the top here. Do you remember what the top measurement was? Let's click on our tape measure tool. Let's go across 5 centimeters. Okay, so let's click on the text tool. 5 centimeters, height of 0.8, and I can place that there. Okay, so do I have all the measurements I need for surface area and for volume for this front L shape? I believe I do. So you can go in and use the paint tool. Okay, you can use your own colors. You can color this, the base. Oops. Let's try that again. Let's click on green. All right. Now, because these are all part of the base, I can make them all the same color, or you can use a different color for your measurements. It does not matter. The color is not really that important. It's just going to help us identify the measurements when we open it up to create the net. Okay. So let's do one more side together. Now, the good thing is, what you do on this side is going to be exactly the same as the back. So if you want to just copy all of those measurements and place them on the back, that will be fine. Okay, so let me go to this part here. Okay, So let's use the tape measure. Let's click once across, and this is 5 centimeters. So 5 cm. Okay, and I'll place that there. And then let's use the tape measurement. Let's go across and down, I should say, and 5. Oh, I've got a square on the top. How nice. That's going to help us when it comes to surface area, right? Square is a different formula for area. Okay, let's rotate this. Right there. Okay, now because this is a different shape than all of the others, in fact, there is no other shape like this anywhere on the L box, is there? Because normally what we see here, we have an equal or congruent but opposite side on the other side. But in this case, we don't because the bottom of the L is totally different, isn't it? Okay, so what I can do is I can use a totally different color for these measurements because this is a totally different side. Okay? All right. So how about we do the bottom over here? Well, I don't have to always use my tape measure tool because this side gives me a clue about what this length is. So if this length is 13, this must also be 13. So let's use those clues and let's type in 13 centimeters. And let's place that right here. Don't worry if it's facing the other way. You can rotate it if you want. That means this side would be 13 as well. Now, do we know the measurement of this side, the width? No, we haven't measured it yet, have we? So let's use the tape measure tool. Let's go from here to here, and I see it's 5 centimeters. Okay, so that measurement has come up a few times in our model, hasn't it? So I'll put it right there, and then I'll rotate it this, and then I'll move it back onto the side. Okay, now if you want to label this side, the bottom, okay, if I just turn it around like this, then I can use the text tool and I could label it bottom. Now I think these labels we used 1 centimeter, didn't we? Just for the words. Okay, and I could put this right there. Now this side is done in terms of labeling. So let me use the paint can tool and let me use a different color here. So let me color this in just a different color. So we've got different measurements for different sides. Okay, so what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to continue labeling the measurements of all of these sides. Okay, then you know what to do. I need you to create groups of all of these sides. Then I need you to open up this box to show me and reveal the net. Okay? So good luck with that. Use all of the skills that you've been practicing and call me when you've got the net for the L box. So that will be great practice for your project called F is for Fletchers. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye.